Hello, today we are going to talk about value prediction. Value prediction in .NET. So we will use a tabular model. So the following scenarios use automated ML to train and pick the best models for your data. And we are going to look to the value prediction. In Visual Studio and .NET, there is quite nice mechanism to play with models, especially with simple models, and learn how they can be used in real life. So if you are looking to the Visual Studio, there is nice option after creating some kind of class project. You can add machine learning model. So I added machine learning model here, and then I can click OK, value prediction, and I can train my model locally quite easily. Okay, so I'm choosing that model. How I'm going to train it? I need to select the way how I can train it. Of course, here I can only train it by a CPU. I cannot train it by Azure or a GPU because that model is quite easy. So I don't need so big power to train it. With a local CPU environment, with a processor of Intel, with memory 33 gigabytes, is quite powerful processor, so I can train it, and our training will not take too long. Okay, so what is important to have to train is to have a nice data set. Of course, I can have a data set on some kind of structured data. I can have it in a CSV format, in a TXT. I can go and connect to the SQL Server. So I can do a lot of things, but the most important thing is that data should be structured. And which data we are going to analyze. So this is data from taxi driving. So imagine that you have some taxi company and you want to predict the amount of money that you are going to pay, or if you are going to, or you are a customer of the taxi company, and you want to find out how much money I should pay based on a certain criteria. So we have vendor ID. So this is quite a lot of data here. So it's about 100,000 data. So we have vendors. We have vendors, those CMT vendor, for example. There's count of passengers, so depends on how many passengers are going to be in a taxi. How long we will drive in this taxi. So it's in a second. The distance, how we're going to pay, or with card or with cash. And that is the result to train. So based on this kind of data, we will train model. So model can, based on the parameter that we are going to choose, give us a fair amount. So give us how much money we need to pay. So that is quite interesting. Okay, we are going to train that. So I train the data. So I take the data. Okay, that is selected. I need to select column to predict. So I need to predict something. So I want to predict, in that case, fair amount. I'm going to prepare fair amount. And what I should do further is to train. I'm going to train. We can, of course, train. There is always question how long should we train. That is not so a lot of data. It's about 100,000. That is well structured in a table. So we will choose to train in 10 seconds. So it's quite fast. We are going to train. Of course, I'm not going to choose the model and the best model to train. It will be done automatically. So for me, from a, let's say, management point of view, I don't want to know which model I used. I want to have model that is trained. Okay, if I train the model, okay, I can evaluate it even on that level. So this is really nice. So I can choose, for example, sample data. I can choose that vendor, the amount of passengers, the trip, and and payment type, and I can predict. Okay, and based on that data, the prediction model predict that I'm going to pay 7.688. Yes. If I would choose, if I would change the distance, for example, probably there will be something different. Okay, yes, if I would choose the distance, I'm going to pay more. If I would change the distance to 5, probably I'm going to pay more. So it works quite nicely. What I can do, for example, I can then, after that, I can consume the model. So because that one is quite interesting concept, because of course we can train the model, but the model is trained, and it would be nice to start using that model. So here there is some kind of option as well. Here that I can automatically add app console and web console. So that is in an automatic way. I already added some console, so I can show you how it can be run. Okay, if I go, so that can be consumed or by console. So this console application, so for us, is nice way to see that something works, basically. So it's if we are writing or we are testing things, it's nice to do. But of course, if you want to have some other application that want to consume that model through web API, is nice to have a web API as well here. So if, for example, I can start and we can consume as well web API as well. So in a Swagger you can see which API is available. So that's the way how we can train a prediction model. It is a nice way in a ML.NET. ML.NET provides that nice visualization how to train model. Of course, we have a lot of models to train, but today we talk about value prediction. So hopefully now you can imagine how we can train model, how we can choose data, which data, how the data should be structured to be able to train model and then to consume that model by the console and web API. Okay, thank you.